Found an article the other day from the Daily Signal. Now, that's not a website that I go to every day, but this story really jumped out at me. Headline says DC mayor says no virtual learning, giving unvaccinated black teens zero alternative options. Now, the mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser, in addition to looking really angry, I think she hates kids. Maybe she doesn't hate kids, maybe she loves power and control. Let's dig into this article a little bit and see what's going on, see what we can make of this. The District of Columbia does not appear to have a contingency plan for unvaccinated students who are banned from attending school in person this fall after the first 20 days, according to comments made by Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser on Thursday. During a press conference, Bowser, a Democrat, admitted there are no alternative options, including virtual learning for students who cannot attend school due to the district's vaccine mandate, meaning unvaccinated children will effectively be left without an education. Over 40% of blacks aged 12 to 17 are not vaccinated, according to city data. 40%. All right, that's a lot. The Daily Signal asked Bowser what the plan was for unvaccinated students. Washington, D.C. public schools start on Monday. Hey, that's tomorrow. Maybe today by the time you're watching this. Bowser responded, they can go to school on Monday, but they need to get their vaccinations, and their families will be alerted as to the dates. So, let me see if I get this right. Just this first couple of sentences here. 40% of the kids in school, the black kids, they're not mentioning anyone else, so this is just oddly racist, but we're going to let that go. 40% of blacks aged 12 to 17 are not vaccinated. And they need them to be vaccinated in order to go to school. I think everyone has pretty much agreed this situation is nearly over, and, well, I don't think getting vaccinated provides all the protection they said it did. I'm not sure what you can say about this, but it's not living up to expectations. I'm not sure what you're allowed to say anymore. But they are, if they're unvaccinated, they're allowed to go to school on Monday. So a normal person would assume that if they're on school on Monday and they're unvaccinated, it's okay. And they can be there for the first 20 days. Let's call it 3 weeks. So everyone can go to school for 3 weeks, vaccinated or unvaccinated. But the magical day of day 20 suddenly means that the people that are in school and not vaccinated become a problem on the 20th day, and now they can no longer be in school. I think that's how this article is interpreted, and someone please explain to me how this makes any sense at all. Students get 20 days to provide their vaccination certificate. The official of the State Superintendent of Education for DC announced that, quote, all students must have up-to-date immunization certification on file with the school within the first 20 days, or they will not be allowed to attend school or school activities until the immunization certificate is secured by the school, end quote. Now, they said something in here that's really interesting. Up-to-date immunization certification. Does this mean they need all 4 shots and 5 boosters? What are we up to now? 3 shots, 4 boosters, 2 shots, 9 boosters? I'm not sure. But do they need to have all of them to be considered up-to-date? I know that's how they were doing it in some places. I don't think you can get more than a couple of shots in 20 days, even if they started on day 1. I think they just want these kids out of school if they're not vaccinated. I don't know. This is a weird story. So the office continued. If the student does not come into compliance within a 20-day school period, the school must remove the student from school until the immunization certification is secured by the school. Oh, so they're perfectly fine for the first 20 days, but on day 21 they become a threat to everyone? I wonder what happens on that magical 20th day. That's some Hogwarts stuff right there. When pressed on whether or not unvaccinated children would have to use virtual learning for their education if they were not compliant with the vaccine mandate, Bowser said, we are not offering remote learning for children, and families will need to comply with what is necessary to come to school. Oh, see, they did virtual learning for what, about 2 years, give or take, year and a half? And that was fine. But now it's not? I'm getting the feeling this has a lot more to do with controlling your kids than anything with a medical basis. You kind of getting that same vibe? Updated data from the government's vaccine numbers website shows 47% of the black children in the district aged 12 to 15 had not completed their primary vaccination series necessary to go back to school in person. Among black teens 16 to 17, 42% are unvaccinated. Okay, so 47% and 42%. Let's keep the numbers simple. Let's just say half. It could be about half. We can go with that, right? An August 25th press release from the District of Columbia Public Schools website reads, the Coronavirus Immunization of School Students and Early Childhood Workers Amendment Act of 2021, which the Council passed in 2021, requires student ages 12 and older to be vaccinated against, blah, 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 in order to attend school. The mandate also applies to students attending DC private schools. Whoa! So you can't even go to a private school? This applies to them? Well, what's the point of being private then? It's not public. How does that even work? I'd like to see that go to a lawsuit. I don't think that would make it past court. The Daily Signal reached out to Bowser's office in D.C. Public Schools for comment, but did not immediately receive a response. I don't know if they ever received a response, or this is a pretty poorly written article. So, where are we at? Between 42 and 47% of black kids in D.C. are not vaccinated or not vaccinated enough to go to school after the 20th day. I can't repeat this enough, but the first 20 days are fine. You're good to be unvaccinated, but on that magical 21st day, something happens. Now, you also have to do this at private schools, and you can't do virtual learning. Listen, I don't know what to tell you guys. This woman seems a little megalomaniacal. I think she just wants control of your children. Children, as far as I understand it, are not affected by this magical disease as much as other people, unless they have comorbidities, asthma, extreme overweight, diabetes, etc. But this doesn't really affect kids that much, and if they do get a case, they bounce back pretty quick. What's this for? I think it's control. I think it's control over your kids. And when you see all these cases of, I don't even know what you can say on YouTube anymore, but there are certain things that happen to people who get this, and they don't feel so good anymore. How's that for being vague? And they want to do this to your kids? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. So I guess the takeaway from this article is that my body, my choice doesn't apply to your kids. They also only gave statistics for black children. Now, if Washington, D.C. was 90% black, that makes a lot of sense. It might be 15% black. I just don't know the statistics for the whole city. But this article, it focuses specifically on black children. And I kind of get it. I mean, first, everyone is racist now. So everyone is equal, but some are more equal than others. But the vaccination rate in minority communities is fairly low from the numbers that I have seen. I'm sure this has nothing to do with things like the Tuskegee experiments, lots of government trust in those communities, or the fact that there are more Planned Parenthood clinics in minority neighborhoods than Beverly Hills, Westport, Connecticut, or Bethesda, Maryland. That's where the rich people live. But more black children have been aborted in the last 40 years than the entire population of Canada. Sure, they have a lot of trust that government policies are in their best interest. So you guys keep voting for Muriel Bowser. She's been the mayor since 2015. Things getting better? And for God's sake, take your kids out of these schools. They aren't teaching anything. I read a statistic earlier today that over 50% of adults in the country can't read above a 6th grade reading level. But they'll teach your kids to be trans, or CRT, where they teach them to be a victim. Have some pride in your family and your culture. Real pride, not that rainbow vomit garbage. This sounds like a threat. Get vaccinated, or we will refuse to educate your children. You know, educate them with the money that you're paying in taxes. I can't predict the future, but I think their bluff will be called. I don't think the unvaxxed will comply.